grab your favorite beverage, kick up your feet as you ascend with me into the joy portal of soul reflections, fresh perspectives, fun ideas, and wisdom. Light to light and heart to heart. Smile and breathe even deeper as together we will soar above the perception of all hurdles and shine brightly as the light we are. Namaste and welcome to Light, Laughter, and Lattes. My name is Geri Habstritt. I'm an Avesa quantum healer, Self-Ascension intuitive counselor, medical intuitive, and your friend and soul connection for the next hour. So welcome everyone to this fabulous week of jumping into a retrograde. First one of 2020. We are 2 days after a very profound up-level date, and I have with me today Cheryl Avis, who is opening a new online metaphysical store specializing in crystals and many other things. But I wanted to bring Cheryl with us today because I think so many people, especially when they're first opening up to energy, sensing things. Crystals seem to be the place where everyone is drawn the most. There's such a tangible energy of memory in them. Children are just naturally fascinated with them and like to gather them up and look into them. And there's a reason for this. They hold such a sacred space, such a memory, such a connection that we can tangibly hold and put around us, that it's a really powerful tool in many ways. And so I would like to introduce Cheryl, who can share her brilliance around these crystals with all of us. Welcome, Cheryl.
Hi, Geri. Thanks so much. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, and Cheryl is from my home state, Minnesota, so we're creating this little connection all the way back from my roots too, so this is a lot of fun for me.
And thank you for that lovely introduction. Well, I hope I can live up to your expectations.
I have no expectations. I've learned. This is a go with the flow kind of show, so if we end up talking about something completely off of crystals, I'm good with it. And I'll trust that was what was supposed to happen. So tell me, you are opening up a metaphysical store with crystals. So someone doesn't just do this unless they have a strong affinity to crystals. How did this start for you?
Well, it started when I was probably in kindergarten, probably 5 or 6 years old, and my mother's father lived with us, and he was in the end stages of cancer. So this would have been the late 60s, and as it goes, a young family with a senior living with them, the senior needed some quiet time, so my parents would take us to a quarry on the Mississippi River, and we would hunt for agates, and that's sort of where my love of rock collecting began. I got my son involved a bit when he was a youngster, and as the years have unfolded, I found myself going back to that old hobby, which is now more of a passion. And as I started to up-level in 2012 and step into knowing more about what my life purpose is, I started placing very high vibration crystals around my house to help keep the energy high in my home and keep the negativity out. And I worked in corporate America at the time, and it was quite taxing. And then to come home and not have anything to sort of lift my energy when I got here. So that's really where it began. And then as I've stepped further into that relationship with crystals, it's really become a calling to help people know what crystals are supportive for them. I use them in my Reiki sessions, in my Avesa healing sessions, and it's really, again, been quite a journey over the last 18 months to build out this inventory and get ready to launch this website. I'm very excited about it.
Yeah. So let's get into let's get into some of these crystals and how our listeners can use them for their growth and for their elevation of energy. Did you bring these crystals into your corporate job? Did you have them on your desk and carry them with you in your purse and those kind of things?
Oh, I certainly did. Thankfully, I shared an office with a couple of folks who were starting to open themselves and were and liked crystals. It wasn't necessarily about the metaphysical side of it, just that they were pretty to look at or what have you. But there was a lot of intention around the crystals that I selected and where I placed them in the space. And of course, I did all the normal energy clearing protocols as well to keep the energy up and the crystals supported in that way.
So let's start with the office space. There's probably a lot of people listening who are going to a corporate job or any kind of job where they're around a lot of fluorescent lights, a lot of electronics, computers, Wi-Fi, all those things that really have a harsh frequency, and we really need some protection, or definitely some elevation. What are some of the crystals that you brought into your office space that you found supportive?
Great question. I definitely want to speak first and foremost to the electronics. The amount of radiation that we're exposed to on a daily basis is rather excessive, just because of all the wireless tools that we use in a corporate space. So any of your black stones, shungite is probably the most effective for EMF absorption. If you don't have shungite, a black tourmaline is probably the next one. And then until you can find one of those, if you can get a hold of a piece of jet, which is a black stone, or black obsidian, those would work equally well. But again, the go-tos for me for EMF are definitely shungite and tourmaline. I always had a piece of tourmaline near my laptop in the office. And then, of course, I have tourmaline next to all of my modems and things in my home, my personal space. If you happen to work with a team of people, and there's a little disharmony, a quartz cluster is really good for teamwork, and a quartz sphere will also help smooth things out. Shape is important, and a lot of people don't think of that consciously, right? They're drawn to things sort of intuitively, but they don't necessarily know why. But a clear quartz cluster is great for teamwork, and a clear quartz sphere is good for smoothing things out. Blue quartz, if you can find it, is great for communication and clarity in those communications. I also kept a piece of ocean jasper on my desk because I was working remotely for most of my team, and that ocean jasper was great for me to hold on to when things on a call might get escalated from other people, and it just helped keep me grounded and to not get drawn into a conversation that would escalate. It was more for de-escalating, so I found those to be very helpful.
I'm listening to you talk about the stones, and really, it takes me back to my childhood, how the inner child didn't know anything, but yet was so intuitive. And you can use that intuition with these stones. So you're talking about when you're working with a group of people, a cluster, like a cluster of people. Of course, a cluster would be good for that. And like an ocean jasper, how it would just like smooth things out, right? Like the ocean. So in the black would absorb the negative energy. So
absolutely.
It can really be, it's very intuitive how these stones work. So this is just really a guideline for everyone. The best thing always is to follow your intuition, but it's great to have someone with all this knowledge. Is there a specific way you would set these black stones around your computer? Do you surround your computer? Do you grid out your computer?
No, actually, I don't. I put them on the unit or near the unit. And the stone, again, if you were talking about, putting something in a server room, you would need something a little larger. But really, the attributes of the stone are not inhibited by its size. So just a small, 1-inch chunk of tourmaline should take care of your laptop. I have a larger chunk for my modem. Only because I have a lot of other Wi-Fi equipment in that space, and it's just, doing a lot of extra work.
Okay, so you set a piece next to your modem, and then you set another piece next to each of your electronics. I'm assuming your TV, your laptop, your desktop, anything that's electronic or goes off of Wi-Fi?
Yes.
Okay. And so how about if someone wants to grid out their house? Is there a process that you go through with that?
I really think that for an individual, if you know what you want your space to feel like, gridding may not be necessary. There are other ways to cleanse your space. Now, I have done space clearing for businesses, and in particular, a massage center had asked for some clearing. There's high turnover in that clientele, and everybody's at a different vibrational state when they come. So that one, I used a combination of sacred geometry to clear the space, along with some sage, and then I gridded each room with a tourmaline in each corner and a clear quartz in the center to amplify that so that nothing would get stuck, if you will. And so it really depends whether you practice feng shui. You can put crystals, that amplify different properties. So, feng shui, the back left corner of the house is for the amethyst, for abundance. So again, it just depends on what the intent is. If it's to just keep the energy stable and high, clear quartz, copper, things like that will help hold that vibrational space.
Oh, interesting. Well, I'm just thinking about someone I interviewed on Taoism, and we went into the feng shui of all the corners and what to put in each one. And crystals wasn't something that we talked about as part of it, but I like that you added that to it. Now I've got myself thinking about these different corners. Do you know what goes in all the corners, like in your kitchen and stuff, as far as crystals?
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I can certainly pull that and send it to you if you need it.
Okay.
And would be happy to do that.
Nope, that's okay. I just thought I'd ask. So how about next to our bed? Our bed is so important, and I don't think many people realize that the bed is not a storage space for all the things you don't have room for in your house to slip under your bed.
It's not? No.
This is a place where we spend, probably 8, 7, 6 hours of our time not consciously in our bodies. I mean, hopefully we're not consciously in our bodies and stuck in our heads. But this is a place where we're just letting the whole day go, allowing ourselves to lift up to a place of clarity and healing. And so any clutter that we have around our room, around our bed, under the bed affects our energy field. And so it is the perfect place to grid. It's a perfect place to have crystals. I have a bunch of them next to my nightstand. I mean, I don't have room for anything else next on my nightstand, hardly. What are some of your favorites that you like to put in and around the bed?
Well, I will tell you, presently I have several stones next to my bed. One is a 12-inch Kundalini, it's a Kambaba jasper, which is Kundalini energy, flame. That's been there for a few months now. I have several Shiva eyes, some chevron amethyst points, and a Sri Yantra quartz pyramid. And those are the ones that are closest to me. I have some other ones that are a little bit further away. I don't recommend those for everyone. If you're a light sleeper or have trouble sleeping, I would recommend rose quartz or blue lace agate, lepidolite. Those are all stones with a very relaxing vibration that will help you sleep. If and then I just use my intuition as to which stones I add in or remove depending upon where I am in an up-level cycle or, anything going on that I'm releasing, things like that.
Yeah. So this is another place where it's really important to use the intuition. So like you said, if you are really stuck in your head and having a hard time relaxing and getting out, you would want the crystals with a softer energy, a softer hue, something more gentle like the rose quartz, very gentle. It'll bring you into your heart and out of your head. Some of those that you're really drawn to that have a nice, light, calming energy. Where on the other hand, maybe if you need a little more activity or motivation because you're maybe really lethargic, you might want something a little bit more stimulating. I find like in my dream state, if I want to connect maybe with a past life, say Atlantis or Lemuria, I might put a Lemurian crystal next to my bed. Probably good to have one of the dark ones, so you're not affected at all, as you might be traveling through different astral energies during your sleep states, maybe to have a little extra protection next to your bed.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And, I don't know, do you have any other recommendations as far as if you have a really good intention before you go to sleep, what you might want to use?
Just a couple of things to mention. If you're doing a deep release like old emotional trauma and you need a little extra support, ocean jasper is great for that, as is malachite. Those are pretty powerful. So if you find that you're not sleeping, you might set them a little bit further away from the bed. That vibrational frequency can be disruptive depending upon where you are in that process. The other thing I will just share with you, I gridded my room. I had my gallbladder removed about a year ago now, I think, and I wanted to accelerate the healing. So I gridded my room in brown tourmaline, which is dravitite, I believe is the formal name for it. I gridded the room in the brown tourmaline, and I wore bogie stones, which are a little hard to find, but they come in pairs. They're a male and a female, and I pinned them using my intuition. I pinned them on my pajamas or whatever I was wearing for the day as I moved around. The bogie stones are really good for healing. So if you're recovering from something, that's another time when you can switch up the crystals in the room where you're going to be doing most of your recovering. That will help support that healing process.
Well, that brings up a question for me. So actually today at 1, I'm going in to have a melanoma spot removed. So do you have any? I've been taking some arnica, which helps with will help with the surgery aspects. But do you have recommendations for someone who's going into a physical surgery maybe?
Well, I think the quartz family is probably the go-to there. Obviously, they wouldn't necessarily let you take anything into the operating room unless you let them sterilize it. So you wouldn't want to take anything that was, water soluble or anything like that. But a clear quartz is a great go-to. It's a master healer. And then, of course, a rose quartz would help with keeping the patient calm if there were any anxiety around anything like that. And then, of course, if there's anesthesia involved, a smoky quartz would be good for grounding.
Good idea. I think I have most of those. So,
good.
Yeah. Okay. So how about, for the longest time, when I get new stones and they just feel good, I put them in my purse. And there's times where I've had literally no room in my purse for anything else but crystals. There's a period of time where I literally carried a backpack. Like, these are too heavy. I can't have them over my shoulder. I need a backpack now. And so now I don't have to do that anymore. It's like I've incorporated all of them within me, so I don't need to haul them around. But a few years ago, I actually did that. What's your favorites to carry in a purse?
Well, like you, I once had the chiropractor pick up my purse because I was having shoulder problems, and she asked me what I was carrying. Was I carrying rocks? And I said, of course I'm carrying rocks. And she said, well, you probably need to stop doing that, I will say backpack, yeah, on one shoulder. That's my style. Yeah, so I was still walking lopsided. But I like to carry rhyolite. Rhyolite to me is just like a little ray of sunshine. So if you're having like an off day, or you're just feeling a little sad for some reason, rhyolite, I like to drop that in my pocket. Green or blue apatite's also wonderful. I love Atlantisite to have with me. Again, these are just, a higher vibration that just sort of helps me stay in that higher frequency, and I really enjoy those. I did for a long time carry a labradorite palm stone with me in my purse, and was at a class one day. Just an interesting side note. Children with and you work with children, so you probably are very aware of this, but there was a young man with his mother in this class. It was just a weekend community thing, and he had I don't know if it was ADHD or maybe a little high performing autism, but he was very anxious, sitting there trying to be calm and quiet. And so I just took that labradorite out of my purse and handed it to him, and so, would you like to hold this for a while? And it calmed him right down. And I just, that's like one of my favorite memories of having a rock in my purse.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, because I haven't carried crystals with me for a while, and I work with these kids often, like weekly, I've never even thought about that. And granted, it's a little harder in a public school system to take out the stones and give them to the kids. And
sure,
especially as a substitute teacher, I wish we could do that. Let's create the day where the schools have crystals right there, and that this is what they're handing some of these kids for support, as opposed to an iPad. That's what they hand the kids now for support, is an iPad. This is your reward. Right? Some goldfish crackers and an iPad.
Yeah. So I agree. But for parents who might be listening, who have children, those high frequency stones, even if you just drop a small one in their pocket, it might help keep them calm during the day. It might make a shift, and all kids love rocks.
Yeah, I remember I had a necklace made for my son when he was young. He just loved the Herkimer, loved it. So I had a necklace made with the Herkimer on it, and he wore that for the longest time. How about a baby carriage? Is that, you just have a brand new baby that you bring home. Is there anything you even want to introduce into that gentle little energy field? Do you have an idea on that?
Well, I that's a great question, and I don't think I've been asked that before. I guess if the child had a traumatic birth experience, any of those stones, you could put under the cushion or whatever, so they're not right there easily grabbable or what have you. But I would, again, rose quartz, blue lace agate, any of those that have sort of that soothing vibration to them that would help, with the trauma of that birth experience. It's a great question. I'll have to do a little research on that.
Oh, no, that's okay. What do you get most asked? What are people mostly looking for these days? Do you get asked a lot? Like, I guess if I looked into the outer world, I'm seeing a lot of people super distracted with a lot of anxiety. But honestly, I don't even know if they're aware that they're distracted or have the anxiety. So I don't know if they would even be asking you, what can I use for this?
Yeah, I agree. I think that a lot of people are unaware, but those who are starting to wake up, as you mentioned earlier, they're really drawn to the crystals, which are absolutely here to support us and help us with this evolution. I think anyone who's coming into crystals early on in their growth, it's just, what are they attracted to? What resonates with them? And then that initiates a conversation that lets you go a little bit deeper. Again, you can't go wrong with the quartz. Those are sort of a one size fits all type of family of crystals. And I think the cold and flu season is one thing, the coronavirus. This is another area where shungite is incredibly important. Shungite actually can be used to purify water. If you use it to purify water, it does have a lifespan. I think it's about 6 months, depending upon the size of the stone. But actually, if you wear shungite or carry it on your person, it actually absorbs viruses and bacteria. So it's a great personal shield, not only for EMF, but just all of the gunk floating around. We seem to be in a bad flu season this year. And again, that's a little bit divergent from your original question, but it just popped into my mind as we were talking about that.
No, that's perfect. So if you're going to use the shungite to purify your water after 6 months, then what do you recommend doing with the stone after?
If a stone is completely spent, then I would just return it to nature. Bury it in your yard, put it in your garden. A lot of stones, if you recharge them, put them in full sunlight or in the full moon. The harder stones you can also cleanse in Himalayan salt. That will really be a nice cleanse. So those are sort of the options. The shungite, once it's done purifying water, I would cleanse it and just place it somewhere in the house.
Okay, beautiful. Well, we are going to take a really quick little station break, and thank you everyone for listening. Hold on tight. We'll be right back with more light laughter and lattes and information about these fabulous crystals. Be back shortly. Are you ready to make joy and well-being number one in your life? Are you ready to live the life you've always wanted to live? Then you have found the right place. Joyful Living, Avisa Quantum Healing Center. Hi, my name is Geri Habstritt, and I've been an Avisa medical intuitive, quantum healer, and self-ascension intuitive counselor for 10 years, and have mastered the many tools of self-ascension to assist you to live your best life ever. Are you needing assistance with emotional or physical healing? How about a medical intuitive scan, EFT, or an Avisa chakra balance? Do you have repetitive issues that keep reappearing time after time? How about a cosmic life regression session? Are you wondering what your unique gifts are and wanting some deeper insight on your life? Or maybe you are getting ready to make some big decisions and you want guidance. How about an ascended numerology reading? Maybe you are unsure what you need. That's okay too. I offer free 15-minute consultations and can work with you in person or online. You can contact me by going to the host page on the Oneness Talk Radio website and clicking on Geri Habstritt. There you will find all my contact information. Wishing you great joy on your journey. (111) 222 333 Is it by chance you are waking up at these synchronistic times and glancing at the clock when they appear, or is someone trying to message you? Your soul can actually communicate with you through numbers. Everything is energy and frequency. Therefore, every number carries a unique energy. When you understand what each of the numbers mean, you can discern what your soul is trying to communicate. This is the art of ascended numerology. It is an ancient mystical art that was used by the Essene. Ascended numerology is quite different from numerology in that it utilizes the numbers 0 and 13, thus incorporating the energy of the infinite, which includes the soul. Everyone is born with a soul blueprint. This is the foundational energy you carried into this life experience. In ascended numerology, it is called a diamond foundation. Your birth name carries a number or energy, your birth date carries a number or energy, and your birth location carries a number or energy. When these three numbers are added together, a fourth number is determined, which is your master soul code. This is the energy you came here to master. Oftentimes, it is your greatest challenge. When it is mastered, it becomes your greatest gift. These four numbers collectively make up your diamond foundation. Everyone's diamond foundation, or soul blueprint, is unique and extremely informative about your life experience and how your soul is expressing through it. Your diamond foundation acts as a roadmap or formula for action towards greatest soul potential and form. For example, my chart is extremely imbalanced. Therefore, this was an energetic issue of mine for some time. But when I moved to a new location and purchased a pet, my energy became more balanced and I felt much better. Ascended numerology can be used to determine advantageous marriage dates, ideal locations to live, companies best suited for work, and can answer most questions. It is great for determining the meaning of why certain events happened in your life, roles, deaths, or births played, and the energetic role each family member contributes. Knowing your diamond foundation is not only a fantastic healing tool, but is also empowering. With light shed on your experience and a blueprint for highest soul potential in hand, you can make more enlightened decisions. This is a healing art I've applied and enjoyed with incredible accuracy for many years. If you are interested in a simple reading to find out your diamond foundation and master soul code, or a more extensive reading with questions that you would like answered, please let me know. I would be happy to assist. Just look at the host page under Geri Habstritt and you will find all my contact information there. Okay, welcome back everyone to Light, Laughter, and Lattes, and thank you for listening. I'm with Cheryl Avis, and we are talking about crystals and the many uses to help support us and to boost our frequency and to move us through these times of technology and so on. I think one of the important things about these crystals is that many of them are asleep and they're waiting for the moment to the right person who's awake to recognize their gifts, right? Just like people. And they need a little waking up when you first get them. Not all of them are fully activated, so we have to wake them up. And if they're, like maybe even at a gem show where there's lots of energy, lots of other people and touching them, holding them, these crystals can take on and hold that energy. So they also need to be cleared and charged. So would you like to speak to that, Cheryl?
Sure. Thanks, Geri. I think you're absolutely right. Crystals will pick up energies from the people who mined them, how they were mined, the conveyance process to the distributor, the people who touch them that don't buy them, and then finally the person who actually decides that stone is for them. And I mentioned a little bit before the break about cleaning your stones. And a lot of stones the vibrational frequency has reached such a level on the planet that they don't require the frequency of clearing that they once did. But if they're used frequently, whether in the home or the office or in your healing practice, then it's really to your benefit and to your client's benefit to make sure that those stones are clear each time you use them. And we were chatting over the break. One of our mentors who teaches a class on crystals, he uses his breath not only to activate the crystal but also to help clear it with the stroking of the hand over the crystal itself as you're using your exhale. I like to charge mine in the sunlight and in the full moon. The shungite seems to really love being in the pink Himalayan salt, so that's how I clear that particular stone. The activation process for me, and I do this with all of the stones that I bring into inventory for my shop as well. I thank them for coming to me. I hold it to my heart, hold the stone to my heart, and I say, thank you for coming to Infinite Solutions. I activate you into service for the highest and greatest good of those who shall own you. And then when you buy a crystal on your own, you can do the same thing. You just hold that crystal to your heart, thank them for coming to you, and activate them into service for your highest and greatest good. Now, if you're using that stone for a particular intention, you can also instill that into the crystal as you're declaring the activation process. So you don't necessarily need to know what every stone best supports, but it's really about your intention and having a partnership with that crystal to help you for your highest and greatest good.
Yeah, I recommend to anyone who receives a brand new crystal to bring it to their heart or put it between their hands and actively pump love into that crystal. That is one of the ways to really wake it up and to connect it with you into a higher consciousness. And then you talk too about putting the intention. I know the crystal quartz are brilliant for that, especially if you have one that has several sides on it. You can actually put an intention into each side of the crystal. So the crystal quartz are fantastic if you have a special purpose that you would like assistance with or support for. You can actually program that into those crystals.
Absolutely.
Do you know much about the crystals with the windows in them, what their purpose they have, and some of them that have the really long flat sides, some of them are record keepers. Can you share something about those?
Sure. You have Lemurian quartz, which I think most people are familiar with, but if you find a quartz point that has etchings, like just striations of lines on one or more sides, it's typically a Lemurian quartz, and those are record keepers. And the best way to unlock the knowledge of that stone, and it will wait until you're ready in order to tell you what it knows, but is to meditate with it and just really reach into the stone and ask it for that information. You'll find some crystals will have little triangular shapes on them that are natural formations. Those are celestial crystals, and again, those just to hold a special knowledge. And again, meditation is the best way to unlock what that particular stone was programmed with. And of course, quartz is nothing but a large memory, right? It's in all of our gadgets. The quartz crystals are what power the technology that we have. The inclusions that you see in quartz, you mentioned like windows. Some of them are just inclusions, and in hydro stone is one that has a water bubble in it that moves around. Those are great for scrying if you're into that sort of thing. Some of them have you can actually see the seed portion where the crystal started. Is that covering your question, Geri?
Yes, it is.
Great.
Yeah. Well, I know some of them are specifically meant to be like a window crystal, and I haven't worked with them at all. And I'm not even sure what the window does. Are you familiar with that at all?
I am not.
Okay.
Maybe I've not heard that description.
Okay. So tell me about cars. Is there any recommendation, or do you carry crystals in your cars, or do you grid your car?
I actually don't. I protect my car with angels on the outside and on the tires and things like that. Not crystals. I have not done it yet. I had a company car for a number of years, and back to a personal vehicle since I left my job in January. But I have read that if you put a quartz point on your fuel line, it will increase your miles per gallon.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So
I
I
wonder.
need to experiment with that and see if that works. It wouldn't surprise me a bit, actually.
No, it wouldn't surprise me either. I wonder how you would keep it there. I don't know, you could strap it or something.
Well, I would think if you can find a piece of the fuel line that's up higher in the engine, you would tape it right on that hose. I believe it's a black hose, but I'm no engineer or mechanic for vehicles or anything. So don't go take it to your local mechanic and say, I want you to tape this quartz crystal to my fuel line. But I would imagine they could use electrical tape. A lot of the wires in the cars get repaired with that.
Oh, yeah, interesting. It probably worked great. Now, if someone had to work on your car, they might think you're a little loopy, but that's okay.
Yeah, yeah. And I was also thinking it might work if you just put the point, in the gas cap, and you open the door there. There's enough of a lip in there that if you had a small crystal point, you could probably just tape it in there. Again, I don't know how effective that would be versus right on the fuel line, but something to play with.
Okay. How about crystals for food? In the kitchen, do you put them next to your vitamins? Do you, to charge water? What are your recommendations or suggestions there?
Yes to all of it. I have enough, crystals in my space that I don't put anything right next to the food per se, but I do charge my water. There are a number of ways you can do that. You can, whatever you're looking to charge the water with. For example, I have a Kambaba jasper plate, a slab of blue calcite, and I kind of alternate. I have some bumblebee jasper, all of these in slabs that I can just set my water glass on where it will charge when I'm not drinking it. They also make some water bottles now with a little glass dome in the bottom where you can put crystals in there. And again, depending upon what you're looking for in that liquid, you can change the stones up. So maybe use clear quartz and amethyst and rose quartz for just like a general tonic. Those other stones, if you have a lepidolite slab, you can set your water glass on that and charge the water that way. You can put the stones in a tea infuser and lower that into your beverage, and that would have the same. Just make sure you're keeping the crystals clean. You don't want to, obviously, something you've been handling a lot or the kids have been playing with. You want to wash them off first before you use them in your drinks.
Well, and I like the idea that you have a crystal plate. I haven't done that with water before, but then you could set your vitamins right on top of it too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have some sigils and sacred geometry and things that I keep in my vitamin drawer that I put all my vitamins on top of that. But definitely I'm going to put maybe a crystal in there next to them too. It helps to, boost their frequency and make them more absorbable. And especially as we're increasing in frequency, we're becoming more crystalline ourselves. So this will help us be in more alignment with our vitamins that we're consuming.
Absolutely. And for those that might take liquid vitamins as opposed to a tablet form, you can put that slab of stone right in your refrigerator underneath that vitamin bottle. If you or a quartz pointer or something next to it on the shelf, you can put it right in there. Anything in your refrigerator you could do that with.
Right.
For me, I infuse all of my food with Reiki. So I tend not to use the crystals as much in the kitchen.
Okay. One tip that I think is really fun, that if you have, and I know a lot of people have a hard time with red wine, there's something about the tannins in the red wine that can give people a headache. I know now as I'm shifting into frequency, red wine used to be my wine of choice, and now I can't drink it at all. But maybe if I use my own tip, I could drink it again. I've had to switch to white wine, and that doesn't affect me. But if you take just an amethyst, a small piece of amethyst, and you put it in your glass of red wine, it will clear out all the gunk in the red wine, and it boosts the frequency. So it's this light, beautiful wine. So for a while there, I had a little crystal bowl of a bunch of tiny little amethyst points. And then I would just, when I gave someone a glass of red wine, I would put an amethyst in it. So it's a great little tip for those of you who like to enjoy your beverages, to have a some little amethyst next to your little bar if you enjoy drinking wine. Definitely will make the process of drinking it kinder the next day.
I think that's true of any type of wine, actually, not just red wine. You can
use for sure. I just noticed, for whatever reason, that I used to drink the red, and then within 30 seconds of having a glass, it immediately affected me, so in a different way. So for whatever reason, the white was a little bit easier on my body anyways. So, but the crystals can help with that. Anything else? What's your favorite crystal these days? There seems to be so many new ones. Every time I go to a store, it's like, what? What's this? Are they finding new crystals, or what's going on?
Well, they actually are finding new crystals, and it's because the frequency of the planet has lifted enough that we're now ready for the vibrational frequency of some of these newer stones. So if something used to resonate with someone and it doesn't so much anymore, it's probably a frequency thing. So things like trolite, which is new out of Brazil, it's a beautiful light blue and gray and white stone that has such cosmic energy to it. It's really, really wonderful. There are some fairly recent discoveries. Ocean jasper is new since just like 2002. So again, as the planet is lifting, we're getting these new tools to help us with our ascension process. And so you just have to really keep an eye out.
Oh, lovely. So it's trollite, like a troll?
Yeah, it's TR, and I'm probably mispronouncing it, but it's TROILLITE. I think it's two L's, but it might just be one. Yeah, it's a beautiful stone.
Okay. How about if someone wants to establish more of their cosmic connection?
Well, anything galactic, so tektite, moldavite, Libyan space glass. This trollite, to me, has magnificent cosmic energy. Larkovite is another good one. Petersite is another good one. High vibration, and charoite, both of those are out of Russia primarily. Azezulite, which is a quartz that's unique to the east coast of the United States. And those should come with a certificate of authenticity, because they're very, they look like a regular quartz, but they're very high vibration. The original mine for that is out of North Carolina, and I think they've got a new vein in, I want to say New Hampshire, somewhere up in the Northeast there. Yeah. But those are all very high vibration.
And how about if someone wants to be more connected with the earth, probably some more grounding energy?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, again, your darker tones are good for grounding. My go-to is smoky quartz. The Rudrashka beads are great for grounding as well. I'm trying to think of other things I've used if a client is a little loopy. It's really smoky quartz for me.
Okay. Okay. Is there something, how about if you want to open your vision or open your third eye?
Oh, let's see. That apophyllite is good for that. Any of the, sapphire, the Shiva eyes, but you have to be careful where you buy those. Those are good.
So really they correlate with the chakras. So
quite a bit, yeah. There is quite a bit of correlation there. I'm probably dating myself when I make this reference, but God was the original creator of granimals because he gave us quite a color coordinated system. So if you need some stability in your root chakra, go for a red stone. Red jasper, carnelian's a great one. Same thing as you move up the chakra system, just try and find stones that are aligned to that color scheme. Okay,
so for more creativity, you want the oranges. There's not a lot of orange stones that I've seen.
No, carnelian tends to go towards the orange, so you could probably sneak that in there. You have orange aventurine, some hematite quartz that tends to be more on the rusty colored side.
Yeah.
Some of the jaspers.
Okay, yeah. And then so we move up to solar plexus, more into the empowerment. What stones are we looking at there?
You've got yellow aventurine, some bumblebee jasper. The golden healer quartz is great. Sulfur quartz is very vibrant yellow. And again, just a little disclaimer. Some of these that are raw stones that have some of these heavy metals and more toxic minerals in them, like sulfur, or malachite has copper ore, things like that. You just want to be mindful of how long you spend holding them, and then make sure that you wash your hands with soap and water when you're done, because you don't want that toxicity lingering on your skin. But other yellow stones are, again, ocean jasper is usually a good one where you can find a lot of yellow. Even if you get into
citrine.
Yeah, citrine is a good one. I can't believe that one didn't pop into my head. Yeah, so and you have yellow hematoid quartz. So you've got quite a few.
Okay.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Okay, and how about the heart chakra, which is important? That's kind of the ultimate goal, is to get that heart open. What are your recommendations there? Well,
and here again, any of the stones that support love, the chakra color is green, of course, but Archangel Zadkiel ignites with a blue there, and you also have the pink colored stones for love support. So anything like pink kunzite, rose quartz, green serpentine. And serpentine is a great high frequency stone for really opening up that heart chakra. And the infinite stone is like the light green color of serpentine. It's not anything really special. It's just a different shade of green. Green opal. There's green jade, green aventurine, just all sorts of options in that space. Emerald, which you can get in a rough form that's not high quality, like jewelry quality, but is a very high vibration stone. So a lot of options in that space.
Okay, how about the throat chakra?
Well, I don't want to skip the high heart. It's really important.
Oh, okay,
where your thymus gland is, and the color there is turquoise. But anything, any stone you can get that's in the shape of a butterfly is very supportive of the high heart. Turquoise, obviously, is a great stone for there. And that fluttering in the chest, people mistake it for a medical symptom, but really it's just that high heart wanting some additional support. So again, turquoise, any of the heart stones would work there as well. And then when you get into the throat, that's more of your blue stones, blue apatite. Yeah, there are some blue jaspers. Larkovite has a bluish purple color to it. Labradorite has some blue in it if you can get a blue flash. Are there any stones that you've used for the throat chakra? Blue amber is a good one if you can get blue amber.
Yeah, I can't think of anything. I use the Shiva ice for so many different things. And did we touch the third eye already?
We started there, I think.
Yeah, let's do the third eye again so we're in sync.
Sure. Again, so that's an indigo color. So, your sapphires, the blue labradorite would work there. Dark blue stones. Again, I'm looking around at my space, so I apologize. It's funny, after you talk about it for a while, it sounds like you're just saying the same things over and over.
Oh, okay. How about our crown chakra?
And that's violet. So again, anything that has a little bit of purple in it, larkovite, amethyst would be great. And that would be whether it's regular amethyst or chevron amethyst, which is blended with quartz and makes that nice little chevron pattern.
I imagine some of the clear and golden stones would probably be great too for the crown chakra.
Sure, any of those higher frequency stones, and include up to and including all of those galactic vibration stones that we talked about, the meteorite, tektite, and moldavite ones too. Okay,
and great. So we have just a few minutes left. Could you share a little bit more, tell people, where they'll be able to go to this online store, what you'll be carrying, and where they can find the store?
Oh, sure. Thanks for that call out. I'm hoping to be live in March, and the website is www.infinitesolutions, that's SOUL, LLC.com, infinitesolutions.llc.com.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all of this wonderful information to everyone. I hope you all can find a little use now. Go out and get those crystals, charge your areas, your water, your space to make this upliftment and transition so much easier and more fun. Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you, Geri. It was a pleasure.
Great. Namaste, everyone.
Oneness Talk Radio. Hip, fresh, fun. Tune in to an honest portal of positivity 24/7. Experience unique talk radio from all around the planet, perfectly mixed with music that enchants your soul. Discover oneness moments as you relax into 3 to 5 minutes of divine inspiration. Claim your oneness today. OneNessTalkRadio.com. One world, one voice. Expand your vision.